game, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like that was one of those games where we watched it here. It's like I never got the sense that we were like running away with the game, but at the same time, like I never got a sense that we were like shitting the bed. It was like a weird game. Mm-hmm. Like where like I felt like both offenses were kind of like sputtering a little bit. And I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I have to be like, if I have to be completely honest with you, man, like JJ McCarthy was pretty bad in that game. Like I feel like the Bears probably should have won this game by more, even if it was just based on JJ McCarthy's performance. Like I remember the first drive, he threw, I don't know if you remember, he threw one ball like way away from a guy, then he threw one like way over a guy's head, like. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. Yeah, he look. Well, I don't know if it's that he's like playing scared or he's just inaccurate. But yeah, until like it seems like the first game against them too, he didn't do anything until like the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, he had like a good drive or two, and that's it. But I don't know, and I don't know. I feel like the Bears really weren't that good offensively either. Like, I wanted to bring something up because this win has been bringing up a lot of conversation, so I'm sure you've noticed it too. Like, so yeah, we're 7-3. Obviously, as Bears fans, we're super happy. I think any logical Bears fan would be lying to you if they said they were expecting more than 9 to 10 wins, right? Like, I think I projected 9 wins. A couple of my friends projected 10, and like I don't think anybody projected more than 10. Some people projected 7. So like right now we're sitting at 7-3. I think most of us should be happy where we are, and I feel like most of us know that the team is improving. But if we're gonna be honest with ourselves too, like I still don't think we're the best team in our division. Like it like even like the most positive Bear fan in me wants to say we are, but like right now I still think that the Packers and the Lions have more talented overall teams, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now obviously I would love for when we do meet these teams that we win. Shit, if we win 1 out of the 2 against the Lions and 1 out of 2 against the Packers, that's like a huge win, and then we would be minimum 9 wins, if obviously at this case more than that. Like then come back to me at the end of the season and I will eat my words and I'll just be like, yo, we're with these teams, right? Or we're maybe we've gotten to the point where we're with them. But right now, like, yeah, we've won a lot of close games. We've won I heard another thing this week that our scoring differential is bad. Like we're actually allowing more points than we've scored for the season. But that also could be a little misleading because we lost the game to the Lions by 31 points, right? So, yeah, that was a very embarrassing loss, and you can't erase the loss. But if you take that loss away, now the Bears have a plus like 23 point differential, right? Mm-hmm. And then with that being said, the Eagles, I think you can agree, most people consider them, some people consider them the best team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think most people consider them the best team in the NFC, and they only have a plus minus differential of like 23%. Or 23%, sorry, 23 mm-hmm. points. So to me, like sometimes winning by a bunch every time or blowing people out isn't the most important thing. It's just finding a way to win the game. And though I will say that some of our wins have been kind of fluky or whatever, like every team has those, you know?
I mean, that's probably the best part about this, about the game is that, like on paper, the term on paper, like you match up one team against another, on paper they might be one better than the other. But like, in football, like any given Sunday, right? Like you just either have to get lucky, or like game plan better. And, at any point, like we could probably beat the Eagles, like at some point. I don't know, like if we might, like, yeah, you feel like it's a lot of the coaching?
Yeah, I mean, their improvement, definitely, you could tell Ben Johnson's brought something here. Obviously his coaching, his offensive coaching, his schemes, helping Caleb, those are one thing. But you could tell like he's brought a different kind of culture. It's almost like he brought that culture from Detroit the last few years here, where like he's having these guys buy in and expect to win instead of just say, let's hope we win. Like it's like they're expecting it. And like, I don't know if you saw the press conference at the end of the game, but he said the same thing. He was like, we've been here before, right? When we're down in the fourth quarter, no one here wavers. No one here thinks, oh, we lost. Like everyone's like, no, we got this. Like, hey, we're going to be fine. So that's the one thing I like about the team. I mean, shit. Even Sunday. I mean, when the Vikings threw that touchdown and the Bears fell behind, part of you was like, shit. Like again, if this was last year, or maybe if this was the Nagy teams after 2018, you go, fuck, they're going to find a way to lose this game. But like it's almost like something inside you kind of said, man, like we can still win this shit. And then like you get the awesome kick return, and then that pretty much puts you in the spot you needed to be, and then you were able to execute. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to. I guess my point is I don't want to overhype what we've done so far, and so I want to like bring it back and just be like, hey, at the end of the day, we're improving. We're maybe not as talented as Green Bay or Detroit as of yet. But at the same time, like, let's also not diminish what we've done, because there's a lot of people trying to diminish what the Bears have done. Yeah. There's a lot of people trying to diminish Caleb's, improvement this year. So a couple things with Caleb real quick. Like, for one, again, I want to reiterate that I am a Caleb fan, big fan, and I feel like we do have a franchise quarterback now, which is an amazing thing to know. But at the same time, again, if there's ever little critiques about him, these are just things that, that I'm noticing, that I'm realizing. And again, we all want him to be the best quarterback in the league. That would mean that we're winning, hopefully, Super Bowls. But like, I'm also going to give an honest opinion, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. His QBR on Sunday was 23.7. His passer rating was 68.9. He did not play great, but he didn't play bad. He didn't turn the ball over. So those are all very important things. He only had 2 sacks. He got away from a bunch of others. So there's, even on the games where he statistically doesn't play well, or maybe doesn't complete a high percentage of his passes, that's something. And actually, now that I'm bringing up about his passes, I want to bring something up, because there's been this with the Caleb haters, right? There's a big notion that his completion percentage is low. So, like, I actually pull it up. I'm interested to see what it is sitting at right now. So, right now, Caleb is completing 59.7%, 60. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. If he wants to be elite, that has to be higher than that. And I'm looking at, like, at least 65%. Where you're going to be like a really good to great quarterback. He's still improving in that aspect, but that's low. That's not good. And one thing that, like, I've talked to Chino about, I've talked to other people, because you have the Caleb haters that are pointing to that, right? And then you have the other side. Right now, we watched the Giants game together. Zacchaeus, remember, he had a couple of big drops in the game. Rome's had some drops this season. So it's been also a lot of people have been saying the Bears, have a bunch of drops. Caleb's percentage would be higher if it wasn't for the drops. So now we can actually put that to rest, because I got all the numbers here. Okay. So for those who say that the Bears have the most drops, not true. Okay. So at the end of last week, as of right now, the Bears have 17 drop passes as a team. Okay, so that's tied for 5th most in the NFL. So yes, they do have a lot of drops, but no, it's not by far the most drops, of any team, because that's what some people try to say. Not true. And then, so if you look, they have 17 drops. So I just want to show people that it is partly the drops, but it's also still partly that Caleb is still inaccurate in some ways. He's very good at making certain passes, especially ones on the run, ones where he's using full force on the throw and he's getting the ball there. But it seems to be that he's had trouble last year and this year with, just throws where he has to have touch, right? Or if he's leading someone down the field, he has trouble with completing those passes that are 5 yards over somebody where it's supposed to just land on them after, making a touch throw. So those are just things that I've noticed. So, for instance, if we look right now, do you have a calculator? Actually, I have one here. Never mind. So let me just see, because I'm very interested to see if you take all of his drops away, what the completion percentage turns out to be, right? So let's just say hypothetically speaking, right? He has this year he has 194 completions in 325 attempts. So let's just say that all 17 of those balls are all caught. Okay, which I mean for a team to have 0 drops is almost impossible. But let's just say, so now it goes up to 211 completions, right? And now if we divide that by 325 attempts, it's at 64.9%. So again, 64.9% would still be in the middle, probably like top 15, top 13 or something if we looked at all the quarterbacks. So again, even if every ball that he's thrown was caught and wasn't dropped by a receiver, he'd be at 64.9%, which is still kind of average. So again, at the end of the day, my whole point here is, yes, it's not what the haters are saying that he can't complete passes and he's the most inaccurate passer in the league. So it's not that. But at the same time, we can't blame all of his inaccuracy on drops because he's had 17 drops. And like I said, I just did the math. Even with 0 drops, he'd be at 64.9. So to me, like, let's just be logical about it. He's improving. This is something that he does need to still keep working on and improving on is his accuracy. And we hope that in a year and 2 years, he gets closer to that 70%. And again, it's not all on the drops.
So what would you say is like the top like culprit of our, our shortcomings? That would be it, right?
What do you mean on offense?
Yeah.
So here, to be blatant with you on offense, a lot of being truthful, a lot of the problems we had the first couple of weeks have been addressed and have been getting better, right? So the first couple of weeks, the biggest problems were the pre-snap penalties, and they've done a lot better with those the last few weeks. So that they've calmed down. The offensive line, even holding penalties have come down over the last few weeks. Caleb has improved in some ways. So in the first few weeks, a lot of the issues were Caleb holding onto the ball too long, falling into some bad habits from last year, running around in the pocket instead of just running for a first down or just throwing the ball away. The last few weeks, he's gotten a lot better with that. Right now, I think our biggest issues are, not as much in the penalty area. Now, the drops. I mean, I will say the last couple of weeks we've had probably about 7 or 8 of those drops. So that's an issue we have to correct. And then again, Caleb, accuracy. So, but again, it's all coming with time. He's improving in a lot of other things. And, especially one thing that I griped about earlier in the year was him just processing the plays quicker and getting the ball out. He did that a lot against the Vikings. And that was actually one of the things I mentioned our key to victory was going to be because of the blitz that Flores was going to throw, being able to have those plays ready where he was just going to be able to dump the ball off. So I felt like he did a lot better at that this week. There still was a couple that he missed not throwing the dump off, but he was a lot better. And what he was more than better this week was just saying, hey, if there's nothing there, I'm going to run. So I think he had 53 or 50 something rushing yards last week, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, he had 26. 53 was against the Giants, sorry. But he still had 4 carries for 26 and a long of 16. But again, extending the plays, taking off and running when there's nothing there, not taking a sack, not throwing a intentional grounding. So those things have gotten better. But no, I think right now with the offense, it's just going to be execution, again, continuing what you have been doing, getting the ball out and running quick, especially if teams are blitzing. And then, other than that, just being a little bit more accurate with the passes and then the receivers holding on to the ball. I know it sounds pretty basic, but that's essentially it. I think, and honestly, if I'm going to talk about the defense a little, that's one thing where I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions, right? So people are looking at the point differential. People are looking at, how many points per game the defense has allowed or the team has allowed, and then being like, oh, this defense is terrible. It's an awful defense. But no, I don't think the defense is as bad as people are saying, right? Last week they allowed 17. The Giants, they allowed, I think, 20. They've been doing better of late. But I also think a lot of it has to do with just getting healthier. And so you've had guys in the defensive line like Sweat. Booker, since he's come back, has been making an impact, at least, getting some kind of pressure on the quarterback. I think, like I said, I've mentioned this many times throughout the pods, but Tremaine Edmonds continues to just ball out and play awesome. Bayard had another pick again. And honestly, we're getting healthier too. So this is another thing that when we're talking about if the Bears are a legit contender, I think that these division games are definitely going to show it, because we're going to get. It looks like Kyler Gordon just got designated for return as well this today. So we got good news in all fronts. Jalen Johnson should be back soon. Kyler Gordon should be back soon. So that's the thing. If we get these guys back for these big divisional games and the defense is at full strength and we're humming, now you might make me more of a believer as like, hey, we can take this division down. We can compete. But it's going to be very, we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to come back and if they're going to be able to stay healthy when they're here. And other than that, keep winning the turnover battle, keep getting defensive guys healthy, and that's going to be the keys for the rest of the season, I think.
So a lot of media right now is bringing up how whether we should be scared of Aaron Rodgers, of whether he can still, own us or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you've been hearing that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Well, the funniest thing with this to me is there's two things that are funny. So one, I don't think there's any chance in hell that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play. Like, I feel like he loves playing at Soldier Field, and he loves like giving it to Bears fans or whatever. So he's going to play. Like I don't think there's any doubt he's going to play. And the funny thing is too is like Bears fans seem to be overwhelmingly wanting him to play too, because it's almost one of those things where like, yeah, is Mason Rudolph as good as Aaron Rodgers? No. But like I feel like the difference between Mason Rudolph and prime Aaron Rodgers, right? But I feel like Mason Rudolph and now Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it's that far off. And I think like a lot of Bears fans actually want him to play so that we can say like we took him down, like we sacked him 3 times or we like made him fumble or whatever it is, So like I feel like the funny thing is I feel like the majority of Bears fans actually want him to play, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers himself wants to play. So like I'm just breaking it to all the Bears fans here. He's going to play Sunday. So just get ready for it, and let's just hope we take him down. But I feel like there's no way he's not going to play.
What kind of Aaron Rodgers do you think we're going to see?
Okay, so, I mean, again, I only know what I've seen through a couple of the
past games.
The games that have been on like prime time and like red zone. He definitely doesn't look the same. Even his decision making has fallen off a little. Like he used to I know some people would joke that he purposely wouldn't throw balls into coverage to avoid throwing interceptions because he had like the best touchdown interception ratio ever. But like this year, if you look, I think he's now like 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, something like that. 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So, I mean, for any like normal bum, that's pretty damn good still. But for him, like that's not as good. So, I think that if he plays, the good thing is that he's definitely does not like to be hit. Like you could just tell. He's 41. He doesn't want to take big hits anymore. So, he's trying to do something similar to Caleb, but in a different way. He's trying to get the ball out of his hands quick, but it's more just to avoid getting hit by anybody. So I sound like a broken record, but it almost seems like the Bears' keys to victory are usually the same. and with this guy, it's not going to be any different. Like you have to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. You have to pressure him. You have to hit him a few times, and then that will really rattle Aaron. Because even at 41 years old, if Aaron Rodgers is able to sit back in a clean pocket and pick you apart, he still can. So, like, I think that the key is going to be, again, just getting that pressure in his face and hitting him a couple times. I'm not saying like try to injure him or anything, but if you get a late penalty or late hit penalty is okay with too. But no, like I'm just saying, like get pressure on him, make him feel uncomfortable. Their run game is not like great either. They have Jalen Warren, who I feel like is more of a very good pass catching back than he is a running back. So like I feel like we can stop the run, and if we make them one dimensional and we can tee off on Rodgers, I think we can be successful. Their defense is a little weird because they had the one game against the Packers where like I don't know what they were doing out there. Like I was just like, they can't get any pressure. Jordan Love was like throwing balls up in the air, and like they're just being caught, and like you had like their defenders like were crashing into each other. Like it was really weird. That. So it almost made you think the Steelers' defense was awful. And then in the last couple weeks, they've almost kind of woken up and seemed to be a little bit more of the old school Steelers D. Even last week they played Cincinnati, and I thought it was going to be a shootout, like 45-38. And they actually whooped on Cincinnati pretty good. It was like 34-12 or something. So, I'm a little concerned because the Steelers defense, like I said, has been playing. They've been playing 34-12. They've been playing better of late, and they still have T.J. Watt. So we still have to account for him. So kind of similar to when we played the Raiders and we kept talking about Max Crosby, and he really terrorized us. He tipped like 5 balls. He was all over the place, got a pick. So I just think we have to be very careful with TJ Watt. I love the fact that Cole Kmet, and that's one thing I didn't bring up about last week that I was happy with, was the tight ends. I feel like the tight ends really both played very well last week. Cole Kmet caught, I think, 4 or 5 balls, but always, his blocking is always tremendous. I thought Colston Loveland also did well and caught some passes, but I still would continue to use Cole Kmet and his great ability to block in this game. I think it's going to be very important to have someone chipping on T.J. Watt as well, because putting all the onus on, whether he's going to be rushing, Darnell's side or whether he's going to be rushing Theo's side, we're going to probably still need, either way, someone helping to chip on him. And that's why I'm hoping that we'll see Kmet out there doing that. And, whether he has to do it more and Loveland goes out to catch more of the passes, then maybe we have to do that. But no, that's what I would be doing. I mean, because, again, obviously I think that we can rattle him defensively, but my fear is the offense here. I hope we don't get too stagnant early. I hope that we do, because we've had success here in these past few games when we have these first couple of drives scripted. So I'm almost hoping that we do something like that where we have the first couple of drives scripted, and Caleb, again, gets a little confidence built from just getting quick, easy completions, and then that way we can neutralize the pass rush with T.J. Watt, because if we're sitting back there sending him in 5-step drops, 6, 7-step drops, that's where T.J. Watt can feast. So my hope is that we're able to run the ball in the first couple of drives and really establish the running game to kind of open up those running gaps, and then have those linebackers and DBs have to play a little bit more in, and that can obviously then open up some of the deep passing game. But for now, like I said, in the beginning, the first couple of drives, what I'd like to see is establish the run, throw quick passes, get the ball out of his hand, get his confidence up. And then, once we're able to establish the running game and then the defense has to bite and go inside, then maybe hopefully he can hit a couple big plays to Luther.
Yeah, I mean,
or Rome, obviously. Yeah.
You got a game prediction, or?
Yeah, dude. You know what? Like, I'm sure there's probably people out there who might be calling me I guess you could say too positive of a fan lately, but I mean, pretty much. I mean, all my predictions, I think I've been right. I mean, the only one I picked them to lose recently was the Baltimore game, which we lost. Other than that, I've been pretty consistently picking them to win. I like them to win. I think the key for this game is going to be that we are at home, and like I said before, is there some kind of truth that Aaron Rodgers, owns us at Soldier Field? I mean, I hate to admit it, but he does. I mean, and not even at Soldier Field overall. He just has beat us constantly. But if we're being honest with ourselves, we usually have a pretty shit team. So this is a little bit different. I think he's 41. I think the Bears are, a slightly better team right now, and we're at home. So I think those are the keys. The line is 3, and I'm going to say that we're going to cover it literally on the dot. I'm going to predict the Bears to win 23-20. Oh, it opened at 3. Yeah, so either way they cover, in my opinion, 23-20. Or, 23-20 would be my guess.
All right. Asking for a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, so 23-20 would be my guess. So I know last week when we talked about the Bulls for a little bit, we brought up that they had a big road trip coming up. And we also had talked about they were on a little bit of a losing streak. They started playing some teams that were better. And I know that we were actually even considering when is Kobe White coming back. So some of those questions were answered this week. So since we did the last pod, they've played 3 more games on the road. So the first 2 were L's. So they lost to Detroit. That game, I watched it. That game was a little disappointing. Giddey did not play in that game. Obviously, Kobe White was still not back for that game either. But that game was still disappointing because Detroit was also out a bunch of players. And, it was close up until about the 4th, and then the Detroit kind of just pulled away and beat us. But that was kind of a disappointing game because I felt like it was there for us to win, even without Giddey or Kobe playing. And I kind of just felt like we let that one go. So that was a little disappointing. Sunday night, we had the Utah game. I mean, bro, I know I feel like I sound like an old head, but, man, I just miss, defense. I look at this Utah game. I mean, I know it was, I think it was double overtime, 150 to 147. Damn, that's a lot of fucking points. But I mean, that just seems like that's going to be the Bulls' MO this year. Is they're gonna score a bunch of points on us, but we're gonna try to outscore you every game. So I guess in one way it is aesthetically good to watch because you're watching a lot of fun offense and everything. But man, it's just sometimes you just want to see some tough defense or trying to hold a team under 100 points, but. I guess that's too much to ask for, but no, that Utah game again, another winnable game, double overtime against a team that honestly Utah is a little bit improved, but they're not a great team. And again, it was another just a disappointing loss to fall to Utah on the road. And then fast forward to Monday. So, obviously Sunday, a team that you probably should beat in Utah, you lose, but thankfully they kind of made up for it on Monday night, beating Denver. So that's never an easy task. Especially playing, a back-to-back on the road and then having to face Jokic, which obviously is never a fun thing. So if you look at the starters in the Denver game, what kind of, really popped out to me. So for one, you have Giddey had again, he usually fills up the box score pretty good. So he had 21, 14, and 6. So he did pretty well. The crazy thing is, if you look at the Bulls win against Denver, it's funny. The bench has been so good this year. The bench has literally, I think, actually Google this, Ron. I think the Bulls actually right now might be one of the highest scoring benches in the NBA. So you put top scoring benches, NBA. So right now, the Spurs and the Thunder. No, that's contenders. I guess they don't have actually so far the highest scoring bench. Yeah, I mean, while you pull it up, I guess I'll just dive on into that more. But no, I mean, since the first game of the season, the bench has been great. I mean, Jalen Smith has been very good when he's been called upon. I don't think Jalen Smith's ever going to be a 30 to 35 minute guy off the bench, but he always will give you a solid 15 to 20 minutes. And in those 15 to 20, he's, I think, averaging 10, 11 points a game, and he hits three-pointers. So I think Jalen Smith's been great off the bench. I can't even begin to talk about Ayo even more. Ayo's been fantastic. I mean, shooting the ball fantastic from 2, from 3, from the free throw line, attacking the basket, playing defense. I mean, Ayo was a great find, which our drafts have been very, pretty poor over the years, but that they definitely got that one right with Ayo. So I think he's been fantastic. But no, what I meant when I said that is the Denver game, you look at the plus minuses for the game, all the starters are minus 15 or worse, and then some of the bench players are, like I think Iowa's plus 26. So obviously, when the bench players were coming out on there, they were definitely look, the Bulls have the most. Yeah, go up. The Bulls have the most points per game by the team off the bench with 48.1. So, so that was a good inkling by me. Grizzlies are second at 47.9, Heat 47.1. But again, it's a team that is more fun to watch than they were when they had DeRozan and Levine dribbling the air out of the ball every possession. You have some ball movement. You have selfless players. You have guys that are – you're filling up the box sheet with 7-8 players at double figures. So I think there are definitely some good things with this Bulls team. I think that for the future, though, the things that I think continue to be question marks is what direction are they going to go? Because Kobe White's got his impending free agency. I know it seems like Bulls fans are 50. You guys tell me what, obviously – followers, I would love to hear what you think on this, but we have a big divide on, it seems like, fans that believe Kobe White can be part of the future, and then we have some fans that believe that he could actually be a great trade piece, especially now that you signed Giddey for a 4-year deal, and maybe bring someone that complements the team more, albeit maybe a 3 that can defend and shoot, a la like a Miles Bridges, a la like an OG Anunoby. Funny enough, both those guys are in New York, but I feel like the Bulls can definitely use more of a couple of those kind of players. I know we have Isaac Okoro, who kind of was our infacto 3-and-D guy, but again, I don't think Okoro is going to be like a future star or future piece. So if I'm the Bulls, you got to kind of figure out what you're going to do in the next year or two. Are you going to sign Kobe? Is Giddey someone that you can trade and you prefer to keep Kobe? Or do you guys want to keep both of them? And obviously, fans, if you believe that it's feasible to pay both of these guys big money and still be able to build a winning team around them, let me know what your guys' ideas are. Because personally, I think that eventually you either trade Kobe soon before his contract comes up, or you, like I said, if Giddey keeps balling out and playing well, and you can find a trade partner for him if you don't feel like he's part of the future. But I personally don't think that paying both of them, and especially with the amount of money that they're gonna require, if that is something that can be really feasible. And again, I'll bring up Vooch again too. I like Vooch for this season and what's happening with this team, but I don't like Vooch for the future. He's 35 years old. I think his best days overall are behind him. I still think he's a very solid offensive center, but he's very limited defensively and also on the boards overall. Even though he does average a good amount of rebounds, he's not exactly boxing out and preventing people from grabbing boards on us. So personally, what I'd like to see the Bulls do in the future is continue to build around the draft as well. But at the same time, let's try to find a formula that works. If Giddey's going to be your future, let's try to find Matas, let's try to find players that can play well around them, and then that we can be better overall as a team. That's why I like guys like Ayo, because again, they complement what guys like Giddey and White do, or more offensive-sided players. You bring a guy off the bench like Ayo, who's been showing you that he can hit the three-pointer now. He can still score on offense, but also add something defensively. And so, that's what I would be looking at with the Bulls for the extended future. Now, looking into what they have for this week, I know we looked at last week, but let's just kind of see where they are coming up right now. So this week, schedule gets a little bit easier. So we got, before we do our next pod next week, so we actually have, I believe, 4 games this week. So we have, they're playing tonight against Portland on the road. Portland is a much improved team. They've been playing very well, actually, since the whole Chauncey Billups fiasco. They've actually been playing well under their interim coach. But it's a winnable game. Portland's not necessarily a top dog in the NBA, so I think that that's definitely a game that the Bulls can win tonight against Portland. And then following Portland, we got the Miami Heat at home, and I think the Heat have actually been struggling this year. They also have been very piss poor defensively. They've been allowing a lot of scoring. So, again, brace yourself. Some of these games are going to be very high scoring. And then after that, we play the Wizards, who might be the worst defense in the league, and then the Pelicans. Honestly, Ron, like I'm looking at this week, those 4 games, the Blazers, the Heat, the Wizards, and the Pelicans, those are all winnable games. And when we talk next week, I definitely want to bring this back up. I'm fully expecting the Bulls to win at least 3 of these 4 games, if not all 4. And if they don't win 3, that's a disappointment. And we'll definitely cover it next week. But I'm thinking, from what I'm looking at, Blazers, Heat, Wizards, Pelicans, those are all winnable games. The Heat, like I said, have been allowing a lot of points. They're fun to watch, but they're definitely beatable, and especially on the defensive side. Wizards should be an easy win no matter what. Blazers will be, again, high scoring. And then the Pelicans have been awful this year, and their best player, Zion, is out. So there's no excuse to losing to the Pelicans. So those are going to be our 4 games for this week. And again, we'll recap those games next week, and we'll also, like I said, talk about like how they did and who's been playing better and who's not been playing better, blah, blah, blah.
So we're gonna try to do one on Sunday. So we'll 3 of these games have happened.
Oh yeah. If we do it Sunday next week, then yes, we'll see how they did in these 3. Same thing though. I think they should win 2 out of those 3 for sure, and then we can do next week. I forgot that we were thinking doing Sunday. So yeah, everybody, you might have some reaction videos Sunday to look forward to for the Bears, and we might actually do one right after the game. So that would be nice, a little instant reaction on Sunday. So yeah, obviously baseball season ended not that long ago. Obviously we're all, at least I'm upset that the Dodgers won again. Same old. But let's talk a little bit Cubs off season. Obviously there's not too much to talk about yet. Just some off season rumors and a couple things to discuss. So I know in a previous podcast we had talked about the fact that Shota Imanaga was not the Cubs offered him a 2-year qualifying offer extension, and he declined. The Cubs then declined, I think, a 1-year that would have paid him, I think, $25 or $28 million. No, I'm trying to think. I actually think he declined the offer originally, and I don't know if he maybe went out and saw like if there was any other teams that he thought might be able to sign him to a longer term deal. It doesn't seem like the hot stove was very hot for Imanaga after the end of last year. So yesterday, Imanaga accepted the 1-year qualifying offer for $22.025 million to remain to the Cubs for 1 more year. So what's my take on it? Again, I'm not overly ecstatic about it, but at the same time, like we still need arms, and he's still somebody that's useful, especially in the regular season. Now, obviously, I think a lot of people became fans of Shota, as did I. I mean, his first year here, he was fantastic, I think, pretty much throughout the season. I think last year he had a good start to the year, had the injury, tailed off, and then obviously just was basically pitching batting practice at the end of the year, giving up so many home runs. And so I totally understand why the Cubs didn't want to extend him, and I totally understand why other teams didn't want to give him a long-term deal. I think that 1 year at $22 million, I actually like it. I think he's going to be, with Steele coming back, with Tyone coming back, Boyd coming back, and I'm hoping, again, that the Cubs are going to be out looking for a big-name starter, a hard-throwing starter a la a Dylan Cease or a King from San Diego, that I'm hoping that, Shota at that point would slot into like the number 3 or number 4 starter for the regular season. For something like that, I'd be okay at a 1 year at $22 million. Hopefully he refines some of the magic he had his rookie year. And again, obviously, if it doesn't pan out, it's at least just a 1 year deal, and we're not signing him for too long. But no, I like the move overall. I think the Cubs still need depth, and they still need to make sure that they have starting pitching if they in case strike out in the free agents market. And speaking of the free agent market, it's been very weird. Like, you've been hearing some rumors that the Cubs are, definitely going to be going after hard throwers. You have Jed Hoyer even said in an in an interview after the season ended that his priority is going after hard throwing pitchers. But I have my doubts. With the Cubs always, because they've always been known to not want to pay long-term deals. I mean, they did the one with Jason Hayward, and I guess that one burned them. But at the end of the day, you have teams like the Dodgers, teams like the Mets, teams like the Yankees that are always willing to sign these players and sign these lucrative contracts. And the Cubs seem to be a team that just always tries to find a cheap way out or a one-year deal. Look at the trade for Tucker, for instance. Like, they're not the team that signs these kind of players to long-term deals. They make a trade for a player and at one-year deal before their free agency and just hope that we catch lightning in a bottle. And to be honest with you, as a Cubs fan, that's just unacceptable. I mean, I'd love to hear any Cub fan that doesn't agree with me on this, but we are a big market team. We're the third, arguably the third biggest market, the fourth biggest market team in baseball, and we should start spending like it. I mean, you go to Wrigley Field and you walk around, you see those hotels and those restaurants are always hopping. The stadium's always full. I mean, I went to 2 games last year. I couldn't get a beer without it being at least like $18 to $20. Like, where is this money? Like, you have the Marquee Network that's been now for like 4 or 5 years now. They've been collecting that money every month. So honestly, Tom Ricketts needs to I don't know, start spending some of that money because you can criticize Jed all you want with lack of moves or whatever, but at the end of the day, there's got to be somebody up top signing off and giving him a budget of how much he could spend. So I'd like to see them, like I said, aggressively go after a Dylan Cease, a King, someone that's going to come here and make a big impact next year, especially because we were so close. We were 1 win away from making the NLCS, and I'm not saying we would have beat the Dodgers, but you're close. So, if you're close, this is when you should be pushing the all-in button. And I know, you're going to have people say, hey, we have a strike impending in 2026 or, a work stoppage. But I mean, as a fan, what the fuck do I care about a work stoppage? It's not my money, Like, I don't give a shit. Like, we're loyal fans to a fault. We spend a lot of money. I spend for the channel. I go to games, and you just want to know that your team is trying to compete with teams like the Dodgers and actually win World Series. And I'm not saying that they have to spend dollar for dollar with them, but when you're this close, let's go. Let's open up the pocketbooks and let's try to win.
It's kind of reminds me like what you're just saying now. Like, it just reminds me of the Cowboys, where they don't care about winning. They know that the fans are there. Just they'll come and watch the games no matter what. I don't know if it's to that level, but it just reminds me of that. It just smells.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I get where you're going with it, but I feel like it's a little. I always feel the Cowboys are even worse because I feel like Jerry Jones does spend the money, but he either spends it too late, he waits and doesn't sign guys when they're should get signed, and he waits till they're about to request a trade to somewhere else, and then he gives them all the money. You know what I mean? That's him. And again, so I don't want to say we're at that point yet.
But at the very least, though.
But yeah, but no, I see what you're saying. It's an owner that's all about his bottom line and making money. And as long as people are coming in, as long as people are spending money and they're making money in the bottom line, they don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. They'll try to a certain extent to win, and they'll have a $250 million salary, but then they got the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Yankees at $600 million, and they don't want to go to that level. So as a Cubs fan, it is kind of frustrating when you don't see that team. I understand, maybe you're not going to have that salary every year. Especially if your team is got old guys, you're letting guys walk, or you're trading guys and you're trying to do a little bit of a rebuild. I can understand having your salary be a little lower then, but when you're 1 win away from the NLCS and you have the money, all right, this is the time where, all right, maybe we can't go all the way to the $600-700 million that the Dodgers do, but maybe we can get our salary up to $350, $400, sign 2 or 3 more big name guys, and literally try to win it. So that's what I would like to see them do.
scrolling through social media, and like that's like the kind of like the hot topic right now is how Justin Fields is just like maybe he isn't good.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily agree, but like they're definitely painting the picture of.
I think with Justin Fields, I think two things can be right. So one is that yes, I don't think he is. I don't think he might not even be a starter in the NFL, right? He might be meant to be a backup, or on a team like the Jets when they're rebuilding, he can maybe start, right? Mm-hmm. Just to have a guy out there. But at the same time, like, I also just want to say, like, I did watch that Patriots game, and he made a couple of throws that I think it was Adonai Mitchell should have caught. I mean, I think Mitchell had one deep ball he threw right in his hands, went through. Another one he threw that dropped. And again, all quarterbacks have drop passes. But at the end of the day, like, I think Fields, man, he's also had some bad situations. I mean, he got drafted by the Bears. That was a shit show. Man, no weapons, no line, got hit a bunch. Then he went to the Steelers, started a few games. They went like 4-2. He put up decent numbers. They benched him. They put in Russell Wilson. He never got back in. Then he signs with the Jets. I mean, if you look, Garrett Wilson's his best receiver. He's been hurt half the year. And, I mean, man, he's playing with – it's a pretty shit team. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, like, that doesn't mean that he's also good. I think he's not very good, and he's also playing on a shit team, and it makes it just look that much worse. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely wouldn't hurt if he was on like the Bengals, right? Mm-hmm. And he had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown, and you know what I mean? Like, if you have all those weapons, sometimes it's a little harder to fail than when you got no one. You know?
Yeah, I just felt kind of bad. You know, I mean. Us like Bears fans, like I think like we were rooting for him, you know, right?
I still root for the kid. I mean, and more than that, he's actually a really good kid too. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't get into trouble. He works hard. He busts his ass. He's just not very good. It's like, without being mean, he's just not that great of a quarterback. He didn't turn out to be that great of a quarterback. But I don't need to sit here and like try to shit on him. And I tell a lot of Bears fans and some of my friends too, is just like it became this thing where it was like, do we keep Justin Fields and trade the first pick? Do we draft Caleb Williams, right, and trade Justin Fields? And that became like a very contentious thing at the time. Like, you had people who just became married to the idea that Caleb's great, Justin Fields sucks, we need to move on. And then you had the other side where it was like, I don't know if I trust Caleb Williams. He paints his nails. He wants to own the franchise, whatever the fuck people were saying. And I want to keep Justin Fields because he may not be that great, but, you know, now we can trade back and we can put all these pieces around him. But look, at the end of the day, it's not one answer is better than the other. It's just, look, Justin Fields had his time here. It didn't work out. We have the first pick. This guy's supposed to be generational. There's nothing wrong with drafting Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. But I also don't need to shit on Justin Fields to make myself feel better about drafting Caleb Williams, because that's what a lot of people are doing. Oh, he's a running back. Justin Fields, like, and I'm like, dude, like, there's no need to like say that shit. It's just like, look, it didn't work out for him. Good luck to him somewhere else. And now we're going to move on with Caleb. And that's it. And even to this day, there were still people in the beginning of the year when we struggled. See, like, we should have traded. And I'm like, dude, like, relax, man. It takes time for these guys to develop, like Caleb. Give him some extra time to develop. And, like, as far as Justin Fields, like, let's let him figure out what he's got to do. I'm sure he's going to be fine. I think he signed like a $40 million contract before the season started, so he's got money. And yeah, I mean, yeah. Do I feel a little bit bad for the shit he takes? Yeah, but ultimately, I think he'll be okay.
You know, there's other quarterbacks too who have been like what's it called, like switching teams and stuff, like going to other teams and then like finding success that way.
Yeah, I mean, look at Sam Darnold. It took Sam Darnold, I think, going to 3 or 4 teams before it finally clicked, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, he was at the Jets, again, a shitty organization, didn't pan out. He went to Carolina, didn't really work out there. He didn't play very well either. Then he went to Minnesota, and he goes to Minnesota. Now he has Justin Jefferson. He has Jordan Addison. He's got T.J. Hawkinson. He's got Aaron Jones. He's got McConnell as his coach, and he started to thrive, right? And then now he goes to Seattle. He's got JSN. He's got Cooper Kupp. Maybe not the same guy he used to be. He's got 2 good running backs and another good coach. And sometimes these guys just got to go into the right situation. Look at Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker Mayfield was literally cut from a team. You know what I mean? It got pretty bleak. I mean, he played for the Rams, if you remember that, when Stafford got hurt a couple years ago. And then look, he found his right situation. Liam Cohen was there as a coordinator. Now, obviously, it helps to have Mike Evans and Godwin and Rashad White and then Bucky Irving last year. But again, every quarterback needs weapons. Every quarterback needs good coaching, because only the 1% of quarterbacks are going to be able to thrive with all shit around them. I mean, even great quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, when your offensive line isn't good, he's been hurt almost half of his career now, as great as he is. And with Burrow Burrow and their offense is, to me, what I don't want the Bears to become, right? And I talked to Chino about this. So when you pay your quarterbacks top money, then you're not able to spend enough, I guess you could say, on the rest of the team, right? So right now the Bears are Caleb's still in his rookie deal for 3 more years after this year. And so if we're able to figure it out with him and his rookie deal, you can try to win a Super Bowl or 2, right? But if you have to pay the Caleb the 70, the 80, 90 million, whatever it's going to be by the time he's a free agent, that's going to limit to how much you can spend on the other players, right? So this is why it's so important for the Bears to try to win. I would say, maybe not this year. I mean, obviously, if they're in the playoffs, that's a win this year. But next year, the year after, to really go for it, kind of how we were talking about the Cubs, but kind of go for it and say, okay, this is a year that we're going to try to win the division and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, so honest opinion on where the Bears are at now, if you had I don't want to say a gun to your head, but what would you where would you place them?
Rank them overall? No, and it's funny because I'm glad you asked that, because I did talk about that a little bit earlier about that I still don't think they're as good as Green Bay or Detroit as far as overall roster. If I had to rank them right now, I probably would put them maybe just a little bit off the top 10. Maybe the 12th, the 13th best team in the NFL. But again, with that being said, even though Green Bay and Detroit haven't been amazing this year, I would probably put, and again, I'd have to really look at the lists and make a list, and I could probably make one and bring one next week. That could be homework or whatever. But I think right now, Green Bay would probably, I think Detroit would probably still, in my opinion, be the best roster in the NFC North. I think they'd probably fall somewhere 7th or 8th right now, just because they're 6-4. I can't put them higher than that. I think Green Bay would probably be right around the fringe top 10, 9, 10. And then probably the Bears would be just outside the top 10, 12, 13. So I'm not saying that I'm putting the Packers or the Lions insanely ahead of us or anything like that. But the fact that we have a better record than them through 10 games tells me, hey, you know what? We might be closer to them than I think we are. But then again, we haven't played the Packers yet at all this year, and we played the Lions once, and we lost by 30 points. So just like I said, before I really started buying into the Bears as a playoff team, they had to win a division game, and that's why I said it was a must-win against the Vikings, and they did it. So they cleared that first hurdle. The next hurdle is going to be when we do play the Lions, when we do play the Packers, when we play the Packers twice, the Lions one more time. I want to see where we really shape up with these teams, especially if Jalen Johnson and or Kyler Gordon are back by then, and we're full strength. There's no excuse. Let's see if we can consistently start to beat these teams.
Well, the teams that you mentioned, they've all been in the playoffs. Do you think any of our teams have even been in a playoff game? Right, so far, I don't think any of the Bears players right now have ever been in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah, generally. I mean, our offense is pretty young guys. So I think Joe Tooney did win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, like none of our position player guys, they're all very young. They're either rookies or first or second year guys. Some of the guys like Cole Kmet, they've been Bears their whole career. So obviously they haven't won shit.
Yeah, but, and like the Lions like have been there,
Right.
So they have experience of like really.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm not going to put the Bears ahead of these teams until we can prove that we can consistently start to beat them. Once we consistently show that, then I have no problem putting us as the Kings of the North or whatever you want to call it. For now, let's pump the brakes. Let's enjoy the 7-3 record while we have it, and let's focus on beating Pittsburgh this week first, and then we can jump onto the other stuff.
So you're saying we're going to the Super Bowl? That's what we're saying.
Maybe in 2026. Maybe.
What kind of Bears fan are you?